Midair alarm sounds at 21,000 feet as John Harris, 24, B-17 pilot, bleeds from a cut on his forearm, shoulders tense, hands locked on the controls while he keeps the bomber level and checks the panel now. He tells the co-pilot to hold course as he wipes blood on his sleeve and leans forward. A warning light persists. A vibration grows. He decides to stay steady. The aircraft responds unevenly. He commits to flying through it, and the alarm does not clear. The control yoke shudders as he shifts pressure. His jaw tightens. He feels resistance through his arms. He tells the engineer to read the gauges while he maintains speed. The engineer answers with rising numbers during the same motion. A new rattle cuts in. He counters with trim. The response delays. He adjusts again. The delay shortens. The rattle changes pitch. He notes the change and keeps the line. A panel indicator flickers, and he leans closer. Sweat stings his eyes. He asks the navigator to confirm heading while he steadies the turn. The navigator confirms during the motion. The flicker becomes constant. The vibration syncs with it. He links the two without pausing. He holds the angle longer than protocol. The aircraft stops yawing. He locks the setting. A warning horn interrupts, and he exhales through clenched teeth. He tells the crew to stay seated while he tests a shallow bank. The order carries during the movement. The horn drops out, then returns weaker. He banks again. The vibration shifts to the opposite side. He recognizes asymmetry. He keeps banking past comfort. The response smooths. The horn fades. He centers the yoke. The engineer reports a loose reading, and he nods once. He tells him to leave it and watch for spikes while he advances power slightly. The engines answer unevenly. He reduces a fraction. The unevenness evens. The vibration narrows to a single beat. He holds the beat. The aircraft tracks true. He commits to the setting. A sharp knock travels through the frame, and his shoulders stiffen. He tells the co-pilot to mirror his inputs while he eases trim. The co-pilot answers while matching the motion. The knock repeats, then softens. The beat slows. He adjusts again in the same direction. The knock stops. The warning light dims but stays on. He keeps flying. A gauge needle jumps, and his eyes flick. He tells the engineer to call changes while he keeps pressure constant. The call comes as the needle settles. A new resistance appears on roll. He increases opposite input to resistance. Releases the vibration, drops another step. He notes the pattern and maintains the compromise. A sudden lurch pulls his shoulder, and he grunts. He tells everyone to brace while he counters with firm input. The words ride the motion. The lurch becomes a sway. The sway becomes a steady pull. He holds against it. The pull fades. The aircraft stabilizes. He keeps the same imperfect setting. The alarm clicks once more, and his lips thin. He tells the co-pilot to trust him while he repeats the bank that quieted it. The trust lands during the turn. The alarm cuts out clean. The vibration settles into silence. He straightens slowly. Nothing returns. He locks the controls and exhales. A calm interval follows, and he does not relax. He tells the crew to log the anomaly while he keeps the exact trim unchanged. The acknowledgement comes as he maintains it. The bomber flies clean. Despite the lights still glowing, he decides not to fix what works. He flies on with the flaw intact, and the aircraft holds. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment. It helps a lot. A loose panel flaps harder, and the aircraft jolts. He tightens his grip. Forearms burn. He tells the co-pilot to keep hands light while he nudges trim again. The reply comes during the adjustment. The flap rate slows but does not stop. The controls feel heavier. He chooses not to correct fully. The jolt reduces. The bomber stays aligned. He keeps the partial fix. The engineer calls a pressure rise, and he answers without looking. He tells him to watch only for sudden drops while he holds power. The words pass as the engines stay uneven. A tremor returns briefly. He resists the urge to counter. The tremor fades on its own. The pressure stabilizes. He confirms his decision by doing nothing. A gunner reports noise near the wing, and he listens while holding steady input. He tells him to stay clear and report only changes as he maintains course. The report ends. The noise evens out. The vibration becomes predictable. He matches his hands to the rhythm. The aircraft responds calmly. He keeps matching. A tool slips in the engineer's hand and clatters. He flinches, then refocuses. He tells him to secure everything and stay seated while he tests a shallow descent. The instruction rides the descent. The panel noise softens. The controls lighten slightly. He arrests this descent early. The softness remains. He locks it in. The co-pilot asks if they should abort, and he answers during a small correction. He says negative and orders eyes on instruments while he keeps the odd trim. The question ends. A warning light flickers again, then steadies. He ignores it. The bomber flies smoother than before. He commits to continuing. A vibration spike hits and his jaw tightens. He tells the crew to hold positions while he repeats the same bank that worked earlier. The order flows with the motion. The spike collapses quickly. The controls normalize. He straightens. Nothing worsens. He keeps the pattern unchanged. The navigator calls proximity traffic, and he acknowledges while holding speed. He tells him to mark time only while he keeps spacing the mark. Comes the panel flaps. Once then settles, the aircraft holds separation cleanly. He avoids any correction that would wake the flap again. A gauge drifts and he notices without reacting. He tells the engineer to log it and stay silent unless it jumps while he keeps pressure fixed. The logging happens, the drift stops, the vibration remains low. He confirms again that restraint is working. The gunner reports the noise is gone and he nods once. He tells him to stay alert while he maintains the same flawed setup. The response comes. The bomber continues steady. No alarm sound. The decision to leave the problem untouched proves correct so far. The engines run uneven but controlled, and he keeps them there. He tells the co-pilot to memorize the settings while he holds them constant. The memorization happens during the hold. The aircraft tracks straight. The loose panel no longer interferes. He flies on without changing a thing. A sudden jolt snaps his wrist and he recovers instantly. He tells the co-pilot to mirror pressure while he resists the pull. The words ride the motion. The jolt turns into a steady drag. He holds against it without trimming out. The drag eases. The bomber settles again. He keeps the imbalance by choice. The engineer reports fuel imbalance, and he acknowledges mid-correction. He tells him not to crossfire yet while he maintains the same power split. The report ends. The imbalance stabilizes. The vibration stays low. He confirms that correcting would reintroduce the flap problem. He does not touch it. A radio call breaks in, and he answers while holding heading. He tells them they are proceeding as is while he maintains the odd configuration. The call ends. The aircraft remains controllable. No new warnings appear. The choice continues to work. A control cable tightens and he feels it through his palms. He tells the co-pilot to relax input while he eases pressure a fraction. The instruction flows with the movement. The tension releases. The panel noise does not return. He freezes the setting immediately. The engineer calls stable tong, and he nods. He tells him to keep scanning and say nothing unless it spikes while he maintains speed. The scanning continues. The bomber holds. The vibration remains absent. The silence confirms the method. A gunner reports visual damage, and he listens without shifting. He tells him to stay clear and not attempt inspection while he keeps hands fixed. The report stops. The aircraft does not react. The loose panel remains functional only because it is left alone. A brief yaw appears, and he counters slowly. He tells the co-pilot to follow late while he delays correction. The delay reduces the yaw. The late follow prevents overcorrection. The movement dies out. He locks both controls. The navigator marks remaining distance, and he acknowledges while holding altitude. He tells him to maintain timing only while he avoids trim. The timing continues. The bomber stays on path. The flaw becomes an asset by resisting further disturbance. A light flickers once, and he ignores it. He tells the engineer to log time and setting while he keeps flying exactly the same. The log is made. The light stays off. The aircraft remains steady. The decision holds. The formation clears ahead, and he advances slightly without changing trim. He tells the co-pilot to watch for any return of vibration while he increases speed. The increase passes clean. The loose panel stays quiet. The bomber continues intact. A pulse surges through the controls, and he reacts without hesitation. He tells the co-pilot to stay hands-off while he absorbs it. The words land as he holds firm. The surge fades into a mild pressure. He refuses to trim it away. The aircraft accepts the imbalance. Stability returns. He keeps flying unchanged. The engineer reports fuel within limits, and he answers while holding course. He tells him to keep the split exactly as logged while he maintains speed. The confirmation comes. No vibration follows. The loose panel remains passive. The bomber responds cleanly. The odd setup continues to protect the wing. A distant impact rocks the frame, and he stiffens. He tells the crew to stay seated while he repeats the same shallow bank. The order rides the motion. The impact effect dissipates. No alarms trigger. The panel does not react. The repetition proves reliable. He straightens slowly. The co-pilot asks if they should correct now, and he replies during a small adjustment. He says not yet and orders patience while he holds pressure. The question ends. The aircraft stays controllable. Correcting would risk reopening the failure. He chooses restraint again. A gauge needle wavers, and he watches without touching anything. He tells the engineer to read aloud, only if it spikes, while he keeps the exact inputs. The reading steadies on its own. The vibration does not return. The system settles because nothing interferes. A gunner confirms no further movement on the wing, and he acknowledges briefly. He tells him to remain alert while he maintains the flawed balance. The acknowledgement passes. The bomber holds together. The loose panel now dampens stress instead of adding it. The navigator calls remain distance, and he answers while holding altitude. He tells him to keep counting while he avoids all corrections. The count continues. The aircraft tracks true. The decision to leave the damage untouched continues to pay off. A final tremor brushes the controls, and he resists, instinctively correcting. He tells the co-pilot to wait while he lets it pass. The wait coincides with the tremor fading. Stability returns fully. The lesson is confirmed in real time. The runway comes into reach, and he eases power without trimming. He tells the crew to brace while he keeps the same alignment. The order flows with the descent. The bomber responds smoothly. The wing holds the trick, carries them through. The wheels meet ground, and he keeps the controls exactly where they were. He tells the co-pilot to maintain until full stop while he holds pressure. The aircraft slows intact. The loose panel never failed. The mistake saved the bomber. What did you think? Intriguing, right? Watch the video on your screen. I selected it especially for you. See you there.